is the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be pod-smacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Hello and welcome to episode number 74. 74 of the podcast. Glad to have you with me today. Recording the podcast on April the 17th, 2017. The month is flying by. And the podcast is going to fly by today because we've got plenty of stuff to talk about. I had a delightful time on WBAP in Dallas last week. We did Friday's show, and it was a blast to fill in on the Rick Roberts show. It's from 2 to 5 in the afternoon, and a terrific response. I have not gotten this many Facebook friendship requests in a very long time. If you'd like to check out the Facebook page, it's Rob Carson Show, Facebook at Rob Carson Show. But it was a lot of fun. Other things that have happened since the last time we talked. Well, working with redmaryland.com. It is a conservative blog in the state of Maryland. And I want to thank all the guys at Red Maryland for focusing on, or I should say, posting my podcast. It's been absolutely terrific. They've gotten me in touch with a lot of folks. We're doing some Maryland-centric, politically incorrect swag, T-shirts, hoodies, cell phone cases for your laptop, all of these things with some really cool designs. Not just Maryland, just politically correct stuff, and then a bunch of Maryland stuff, Missouri stuff coming as well. If you want to check that out, just Google this, okay? It is T-Public, T-E-E Public. Look for Conservatees, Conservatees. You're going to like it a lot. Talk to State GOP Chair Dirk Hare today also. He is working with Larry Hogan. The campaign for governor is starting over again, 2018. Should be a breeze for Larry Hogan. He's got a 70% approval rating. He's done a fantastic job for the state of Maryland, making Maryland a much friendlier state for businesses, a much better place to live. And he's taken on the Maryland General Asylum, very left of center, just bat guano crazy legislature in the state of Maryland, and people are responding in a very positive fashion because of it. So thank you to Dirk. We're going to have Dirk on the show here very shortly. National scene, Rasmussen report says that Donald Trump is at 50%. 50% of voters approve of President Trump's performance, 50% disapprove. First time the president's overall approval rating has been back in the 50s since, I guess, nearly a month. When he first was inaugurated, 59% approved, and then, of course, the media went after him, 92% of media coverage. He is unfavorable of Donald Trump. Just the way it is. Over the weekend, there was a protest at Berkley. A group of pro-Trump supporters arrived at Berkley, and that's when the fascists arrived. The counter-protest, the third time, by the way, that this has happened at Berkeley. I saw Dan Gaynor did an interview with Sirius XM talking about it. And they had these national Trump tax, protests this week. I don't know if you've heard about this. A bunch of people say it's nobody cares about Donald Trump's tax returns. That doesn't stop the latest wave of AstroTurf, completely ginned up and paid for protests. I heard one newscast today that said, we talked to some of these protesters and they're not being paid to be here, and they needed to say that because everybody knows that the opposite is true. Nobody gives a rat's ass about Donald Trump's tax returns. Nobody cares. These are planned protests, and they're going to happen every week or two. Every time something comes up, they will create some sort of a protest about it, even when nobody cares about it. But, of course, the Trump supporters were greeted by fascists. They call them the Antifa. But the people who show up at the Trump rallies, they wear black. They bring bricks and fireworks, M80s. They bring sticks and rebar, and they are a violent mob. Well, this time, it looks like the pro-Trump protesters were being helped out by some people who came there to defend them and sent the Antifa leftist protesters running, essentially. Here's a little audio from the protest, by the way. This is the year 2017. This is the country that Barack Obama created. This was the guy who said, you bring a gun to a knife fight, you get in people's faces. This is the guy who never said anything about the burning of cities in this country, whether it be for Black Lives Matter, whether it be wrecking the place with the Occupy protests. This is the country that has been created, a country where people are so threatened by free speech that they show up ready to act violently. And this time, the Trump supporters decided to say, F you, we're fighting back. Now, one of the other troubling things about this in Berkeley was the fact that the police held back. The police did not get involved. And that is a desertion of duty. I don't care what it is, where it is, or whatever. This was not a provocative act by the Trump supporters in any way differently than Donald Trump tax protests are construed to be somehow provocative to Trump supporters. I've heard a lot of media people saying that the Trump rally was provocative. Well, any protest is going to be provocative in some way, shape, or form. But it is not acceptable for a vile mob to attend these protests, attempt to quell them or stop them through violence. And a lot of these Antifa protesters got their asses handed to them. And I hope it grows this way until they realize that we're better armed intellectually and physically than the leftists in this country. But the police held back. I saw a story, a guy was interviewing the police officers. Police officers were literally a mile away from the protests. Went up and decided to approach the police. And the police acted, these two officers, in a typically left-leaning, arrogant fashion.
Hey, how come you guys are hanging back?
That would be a good question for the chief of police.
I mean, I haven't seen the cops around people and just like beating the shit out of each other.
Public statement, right?
No, I'm just asking you guys. I mean, you're here.
I would defer you to our public information officer.
So they told you to hang back?
As I said, I defer you to our public information officer. What's your next question?
I mean, I'm just wondering why I've been watching all day. People get beat up pretty bad. I haven't seen you guys around much.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And ridiculous. It's an assault on free speech. I don't care where you are. It's an assault on free speech. Maxine Waters led a chant at a rally. This woman is so. Where's my bat crap crazy sound effects? Maxine Waters, ladies and gentlemen. Maxine Waters is off her nut. She has Trump derangement syndrome, bordering on, by the way, abandoning her duties as a representative. She has immediately, as soon as Donald Trump took office, decided that she was not going to work with him whatsoever. She wants him impeached, even though he has done nothing to be impeached. It's wishful thinking because she can't handle the fact that Hillary Clinton got her ass handed to her. Here's Maxine Waters at the protest.
I don't trust this president.
Yes.
He's not working in the best interest of the American people.
Mm-hmm.
His motives and his actions are contemptible. And I will fight every
Contemptible? Contemptible?
day until he is impeached.
You're dreaming, sunshine. He hasn't done anything yet. Literally, this is 4 months into a presidency, and you've got this representative leading rallies for impeachment already. Absolutely unacceptable.
Impeach 45.
Impeach 45. Yes,
Impeach 45. Impeach 45. Don't forget who he is. He's shown us what kind of human being he is, and he is not going to change. Ladies and
how many years of Bill Clinton molesting women and being married to Hillary Clinton? How many years did he do that without changing?
gentlemen,
Ugh.
my millennials, stay woke.
Oh, there she is. And then like a 78-year-old woman trying to be contemporary. Stay woke.
Thank you.
Ugh.
Go ahead, impeach 45.
For what, you dingbat? For what? Kids, I hate to tell you this. No matter how much you throw a tantrum, you're not going to get your way. Okay? Mom is not going to take you through the candy aisle. You lost. He won. Get over it. He hasn't done anything impeachable. And by the way, his policies are working for job creation, unleashing the military to do what's right, surrounding himself with the best people, and allowing them to do what they do. And the approval rating is only going to raise. Fareed Zakaria over the weekend, I don't get a chance to watch his show, but he was talking about Syria. And there are a lot of people who are saying what Donald Trump did in Syria and what he did in Afghanistan, dropping the Moab, the mother of all bombs. And they're realizing that Americans like it when the military is allowed to do what it does in a time that they need to be used to go after an administration, the Assad regime that would go after civilians with chemical weapons, go after an ISIS bunker in Afghanistan where ISIS has been allowed to grow. Ain't going to happen anymore. Not going to happen. But Fareed Zakaria and others are now saying essentially that, Barack Obama drew a line in the sand in 2013, and what Donald Trump is doing now is the Obama doctrine, doing what Obama would do if he were still in office.
This binding resolution will ensure that the Assad regime must keep its commitments or face consequences.
By the way, 3 days later, the Assad regime killed 1,400 people with chemical weapons after this speech.
We'll have to be vigilant about following through.
In other words, the Trump administration watched a violation of Obama's 2013 deal and enforced it in precisely the manner that Obama had implied, which is why virtually every major Obama foreign policy official, from Hillary Clinton to Thomas Donilon to Leon Panetta to David Petraeus, has supported the Trump administration's action, as did U.S. allies in the region and beyond.
Okay. Now, Barack Obama's administration 8 times watched the Assad regime step over the red line. In fact, the red line was drawn in the sand, and the Assad regime took a leaf blower to it. Okay, this isn't continuing the Obama administration's red line policy. This is finally actually doing the right thing when chemical weapons are being used.
The strikes were discreet, measured, intended to convey a signal, and yet at the same time designed to ensure that the U.S. did not descend further into the Syrian civil war. In other words, they were very Obama-like.
Except for Obama didn't do anything.
2 senior Obama officials I spoke with told me that were Barack Obama still president, he would have likely ordered a strike that was similar, if not identical, in scope.
But he never did it. And there were similar actions taken by the Assad regime with even deadlier consequences, by the way. And Obama didn't do anything about it. Let's look back at Barack Obama and compare with Donald Trump sending the tomahawks.
I want to make it absolutely clear to Assad, a red line for us is a whole bunch of chemical weapons moving around or being utilized. If you make the tragic mistake of using these weapons, that would change my calculus.
The first images that emerged from Ghouta is a video showing a room full of children dead, many of them in their pajamas, without a single injury on their bodies.
I didn't set a red line. The world set a red line. It turns out we're getting chemical weapons out
No, you set a red line.
Syria without having initiated a strike.
We got 100% of the weapons out.
Assad gave up his chemical weapons.
Except for he used them 8 more times.
These are the horrifying scenes from
including this time when Donald Trump was the president. That red line was crossed 1 time, and Assad got his ass kicked.
a suspected sarin gas attack in northern Syria today. Victims, many of them children.
Beautiful little babies. Their deaths was an affront to humanity. These heinous actions by the Assad regime cannot be tolerated.
What is true is Assad got rid of his chemical weapons.
I'm going to have to disagree with that one. I'm not even going to argue it. We had a failed president, a failed foreign policy that allowed another dictator to lie, keep the chemical weapons, and we're like, oh, you know what? We're good for it. You can imagine what Iran is doing right now, knowing that the Obama administration would never step over or react when a red line was crossed. Their word is worthless. Assad's word is worthless. It's quite clear. If it isn't to you, you have blinders on. They didn't get rid of the chemical weapons. They kept them. We went, okay, because the left, they like to think that you can give peace a chance. They like to think that if you can visualize it, world peace will happen. And they keep forgetting that the world doesn't have any safe spaces. There are a lot of people in the world who would love to kill you and me, take our real estate, and wipe the United States from the face of the earth. There are no safe spaces, kids. Okay? Dictators lie to gullible people. It's when you stop being gullible and realize the reality of the world. You send some tomahawks in. That sends us our powerful message. Yeah, you better get rid of those weapons. I doubt very seriously the Assad regime will attempt a chemical weapons attack anytime soon. Anytime soon. There are a lot of things that Trump is doing right as far as foreign policy is concerned. China, there's an article, I believe this is in the Washington Post, John Pomfret. The headline is China suddenly leaning on North Korea might be thanks to the Trump administration. No kidding. No kidding. Something interesting is happening in China. Perhaps President Trump deserves some credit. For the first time, the Chinese government appears to have laid down a bottom line with North Korea and is threatening Pyongyang with a response of unprecedented ferocity if the government of Kim Jong-un goes ahead with the test either of an intercontinental ballistic missile or nuclear device. Well, they tried that this weekend, and it did a faceplant. It failed. Here's what happened. President Xi came to the United States, was hanging out with Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago. Or Donald Trump, I should say, just calmly mentioned as they shared chocolate cake, yeah, I'm sending 60 Tomahawk cruise missiles into a Syrian Air Force base where they've been launching sorties with chemical weapons. Would you like some milk with your chocolate cake, Mr. President? And that's when Z said, the dude's serious. And he got serious. So we'll see. We will see. Maryland's senator is creating a bill to stop police from dragging passengers off airplanes, of course. I wish that we could prevent lawmakers and drag them off of bandwagons. This is clearly, and listen, 50,000 people are asked voluntarily to leave airplanes every year. One man who's mentally unstable is asked to be removed from a plane or is asked to leave a plane. He doesn't. He pitches a fit. He resists. And suddenly we've got to change policy. One guy didn't stop Senator Jim Rosapepe, District 21 in Maryland, to prevent passengers from being dragged off planes at BWI, and it never happens, by the way. This is about common decency and fair play. This is also about a soundbite when I get elected or during my next election campaign. The airline wants to use a seat you paid for and are sitting in. They should pay you fair market value for it, not commandeer local law enforcement to haul you away. This state bill will underscore BWI's brand as a passenger-friendly airport. Okay. No, it's your brand you're building, sir. It's your brand you're building. Alex Jones, who is, I just think, a nutbag, built quite an empire on being a nutbag, to be quite honest. In case you don't know, Alex Jones is a talk show host. There are some radio stations who carry his show. I think the lion's share of what he has is an online presence, and he has a strident following. He occasionally, I suppose, hits it with some news stories that are correct, but most of the time, a lot of his stuff is falderall, is made up, is panic mongering, whatever. Well, he's in a custody battle with his wife. And right now, they're trying to essentially show a judge that all of this bet guano crazy conspiracy theory crap that Alex Jones spouts is an act. Okay? It's all just an act. It's just a show. His lawyer, Randall Wilhite, argued at a recent pretrial hearing. Jones is currently battling his ex-wife, as I mentioned. He's playing a character, is what the lawyer says. He's a performance artist. Jones' wife has argued that her husband, who once pushed a theory that the Sandy Hook school shooting was a false flag event, actually believes what he says. He is not a stable person. He says he wants to break Alec Baldwin's neck. He wants J-Lo to get raped. He broadcasts from home like I do. The children are there watching him broadcast. Jones' 14-year-old son and two daughters, 9 and 12, have lived with their father since the 2015 divorce. Jones went on a rant last month against Democrat Representative Adam Schiff after Schiff accused him of colluding with the Russians. You get in my face like that, I'll beat your GD ass, you son of a bitch, you piece of SH. Jones later said his comments were clearly tongue-in-cheek and basically art performance, as I do in my rants, which I admit to as an art form, as a form of art. Okay. He also had to apologize for promoting Pizzagate, this theory that Clinton operative John Podesta was leading a child sex trafficking ring out of a D.C. pizzeria. Yeah, okay. It's an act. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be good for the hardcore Alex Jones fans. All right? That's not going to be good. By the way, the wall that Donald Trump's been talking about building is already being built. Border crossings by illegals with children down 93% since December. And basically the word is getting to Mexico, Central and South America. Don't bring your kids here. It's not going to make a difference. We're going to send you back. And so they're staying. And it's working. Thanks to an Obama-era ruling by the Ninth Circuit, feds have, by law, the feds have to quickly release children brought to the U.S. illegally, although they don't have to quickly release their parents. This means an entire family can't be held together, which creates a dilemma. You either release the whole bunch, which is bad immigration policy, or you separate the kids from their families and from their mothers and hand them over to HHS custody. Okay, so that's an Obama administration ruling. The Trump team realized the best way to solve the dilemma is to prevent it from happening in the first place. So the word is getting out on television, in the media, word of mouth. Don't bother coming. Don't bother coming. You will just be sent back. It's working. 67% of illegal crossings of the border, I should say, illegal crossings at the border down 67%. The wall is between 67 and 93% built already. Didn't have to spend a dime. Didn't have to spend a dime. All right, let's move on to some other stuff. California college students, oddly enough, University of California, Davis, voted to take down the American flag at all meetings. Here's a story from UC Davis, KOVR-TV.
Well, it's not an outright ban on the American...
By the way, the very last student you talk to is going to make you want to throw up in your mouth. If you have eaten something viscous like yogurt, you might want to go to an open area, put on maybe some sort of a napkin, or maybe just go outside.
American flag, but the decision makes it voluntary to fly the flag in student senate meetings, and it's sparking outrage on campus. The American flag, our country's symbol of freedom, but to some at UC Davis, it's a symbol too controversial to fly.
Unreal.
We don't have to have this show and demonstration of patriotism everywhere in our society.
Itamar Waxman is a student.
I was at Chipotle today. They didn't have an American flag up.
Student Senate board member. Born in Israel, Waxman was recently naturalized, but he believes the American flag doesn't need to be in view at all times. So he passed a student Senate law not to display the flag in Senate meetings, stating in his bill, the concept of the United States of America and patriotism is different for every individual.
Now let me see. It's a Senate. It's a governing body in the United States. Okay.
His point? To start a conversation.
Start a conversation about being an intellectually demented and moronic child. And how you don't have an appreciation about those who came before you. and you're not even from the United States of America. You have the blessing to be here, protected by the borders of the United States of America and the First Amendment.
Polarize our society is and how divided we are.
You're the one doing the dividing.
I viewed this bill as anti-American.
Student Senator Michael Goffman voted to keep the
Good for
flag.
him.
His parents immigrated to America from the Soviet Union, where
No.
he says they had no rights.
They saw this country as something completely different. They saw this as a country where they're able to do what they want with themselves, with their property, and have a future, have opportunity.
Okay, get ready for this next one.
I see a flag as representing all of that: freedom, liberty, and opportunity.
Good.
But Becca Payne is with
Becca.
Waxman and
Becca.
helped him garner enough support to remove the flag.
The flag, to a lot of people, represents capitalism and colonialism and the genocide of indigenous people.
Oh, dear God. Do they actually maybe in dorm rooms just play that subliminally for the students now? These are bull crap, typical leftist talking points.
The flag.
The flag, to a lot of people, represents capitalism
Yeah,
and
good.
colonialism
Made a
and
lot
the
of people
genocide
rich.
of indigenous people.
Raised a lot of people up.
And this is why we, and many people on the Senate feel this way. Like, we don't want the flag in ASU CD meetings.
A fight for the American flag that has students of all backgrounds talking.
This is our country's symbol, and that reminds of us something.
But I'm going to fight, and I'm going to be proud of it.
Good for him. Good for him. At least the whole country isn't doing that. Here's another story. Another school, the Duquesne University in Pennsylvania. They recently proposed a resolution urging school administrators to reconsider a plan to bring Chick-fil-A to their campus. They allege the restaurant chain's stance on same-sex marriage will make LGBTQ students feel unsafe on campus. Really? They sell fricking chicken sandwiches. All right, and waffle fries. This is the new censorship on campus. It's you're threatened or you feel unsafe. You're threatened or feel unsafe, and then the paternalistic and maternalistic faculty who sees these kids as snowflakes swoops in to avoid their little precious babies from being exposed to a different idea. Well, this guy, retired Army Ranger Sean Parnell, went on Fox News to talk about this new mode of protest on campuses, saying that Chick-fil-A makes people feel unsafe.
I don't know. They're a bunch of babies. I mean, college is supposed to prepare you for the real world, not shield you from opposing opinions. And safe spaces do exactly that. You know, who doesn't want, as an undergrad, Chick-fil-A on their campus? I would have killed for a Chick-fil-A on my campus when I was at Duquesne, over 10 years ago. and oh, by the way, Ainsley, nobody is forcing them to eat at Chick-fil-A.
No. That's a good point.
Could eat at they could eat at the student union where I ate every day.
You can agree, or disagree with gay marriage. That's the amazing thing about the First Amendment. There are some who don't agree with it on biblical principles. They can. But this is another attempt to shut down an opposing opinion. And if you can't fight back, then you curl up and you pretend that it's making you feel unsafe. Honestly, what a bunch of pussies. Just a bunch of crybaby snowflake pussies.
Hey, they have pepperoni rolls there.
I said it. There you go.
They're delightful.
Sounded like Mark Levin there.
Just go, lots of options, people.
I just don't think they have enough protein, honestly. They're probably vegans. And when you don't get the B12 you need, your brain starts to, malfunction.
So what is your message to the students there that are protesting?
Well, my message is toughen up. There are no safe spaces.
How about grow the hell up?
Spaces in the real world. If you're going to be successful in this life after you leave college, you've got to learn to embrace adversity and open yourself up to a litany of different opinions. You will never be the CEO of a major company or an entrepreneur or a manager if you are not willing to work with people that are different than you. Period. End of story.
And I hope that the business world doesn't change to accommodate these little wusses. I mean, honestly. If you have a kid like this, I hope and pray to God you don't have a child like this. Because if you do, your kid is going to be so effed up when they graduate. Your child is going to be handicapped so badly by this mode of thinking, he or she will never be able to be successful. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for today. That's about a 30-minute radio program. We're going to have number 75 coming up here. This is number 74. Again, if you get a chance to check out my Facebook page, it's Facebook at Rob Carson Show. You can also check out robcarsonshow.com. We are selling the politically incorrect swag. Just go to TeePublic, T-E-E Public, and look up Conservatees, Conserva, T-E-E-S. And check it out. I think you'll enjoy the stuff. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to Red Maryland for your support. And we will see you back here for episode number 75 real soon.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.